morning, children. We have learned 3 parts of the lesson. Today we will do the last part of the lesson. Let us see the recap of the story. It was a habit of Bepin Choudhury to stop on a bookshop present in the new market to purchase the book of his interest. But one day he encountered with Mr. Parimal Ghosh, who had recognized Mr. Bepin Choudhury. But Bepin Babu refused to identify him. As proof, Mr. Ghosh narrated him his Ranchi incident. But Bepin Babu replied that he had never been to Ranchi. Mr. Ghosh described him his personal details also. But Bepin Babu was not ready to believe. Bepin was confused whether Mr. Ghosh was telling lie or he was losing his memory. Then he decided to ring up Mr. Dinesh Mukherjee so that he could confirm this matter. He talked to Dinesh Mukherjee, but he also replied in a positive way and recollected all the other incidents also. Hearing all this, his head began to spin. Next day, when he reached home from office, his servant told him that Mr. Chunilal wanted to meet him. Chunilal asked him his help, but Bepin Babu refused to do that. There, Chunilal also confirmed him that he only booked his ticket for Ranchi. Now, Bepin decided to consult a doctor. The doctor, Paresh Chanda, told Bepin that he was not qualified to treat him for his forgetfulness. He advised him to revisit Ranchi again and go to the Choudhury Falls and other places which might bring him his memory of his 1958 trip back to his mind. What happened next? Let us read the 4th and the last part of the lesson. Getting off the train at Ranchi next morning, he realized at once that he had never been there before. He came out of the station, took a taxi and drove around the town for a while. He realized that the streets, the buildings, the hotels, the bazaars, the Morabadi hill, with none of these had he the slightest acquaintance. Here acquaintance means being familiar. Would a trip to the Choudhury Falls help? He didn't believe so, but at the same time he didn't wish to live with the feeling that he hadn't tried enough. So he arranged for a car and left for Choudhury in the afternoon. At 5 o'clock the same afternoon in Choudhury, 2 Gujarati gentlemen from a group of picnickers, here picnickers means people who go on picnic. Bepin Babu lying unconscious beside a boulder. Here unconscious means in an unawake state. Beside a boulder. Boulder means a big rock. When he came round, the first thing Bepin Babu said was, "I am finished. There is no hope left." Next morning, Bepin Babu was back in Calcutta. He realized that there was truly no hope for him. Soon he would lose everything: his will to work, his confidence, his ability, his balance of mind. Was he going to end up in the asylum at... What is the meaning of asylum? Asylum means shelter. Bepin Babu couldn't think anymore. Back home, he rang up Dr. Chanda and asked him to come over. Then, after a shower, he got into bed with an iceberg clamped on his head. Clamped means fixed on his head. Just then, the servant brought him a letter which someone had left in the letter box, a greenish envelope with his name in red ink on it. On Dr. Paresh Chanda's advice, he went to Ranchi. He tried to recall the buildings, the areas, the roads where all he had gone. But he found all of them were very unfamiliar to him. Then he thought of going to Choudhury Falls and believed he might recall something about his fall. When he went there, after a while, he became unconscious. When two of the picnickers found him lying unconscious, they tried to help him to gain his consciousness. On coming round, he said there was just no hope. Next morning, he was back at Kolkata. He was depressed because he thought there was no hope of him. Something had happened to him, probably a kind of memory loss. And now, what would become of him? Soon, he would lose everything: his job, his confidence, his respect in the society. He might end up in asylum where he will die and no one will look after him. Completely depressed, he called up for Dr. Chanda and told him to come. Just then, the servant brought him a letter, a greenish envelope with his name in red ink on it. Let us see what was there in that letter. Above the name, it said urgent and confidential. Confidential means private. In spite of his condition, Bepin Babu had a feeling that he ought to go through the letter. He tore open the envelope and took out the letter. This is what he read. Dear Bepin, I had no idea that affluence, here affluence means wealth or prosperity, would bring about the kind of change in you that it has done. Was it so difficult for you to help out an old friend down on his luck? Down on his luck is an idiom, means a person who is experiencing bad luck. I have no money, so my resources are limited. What I have is imagination, as a part of which I used in retribution of your unfeeling behavior. In retribution of means as a punishment for, of your unfeeling behavior. Unfeeling means uncaring. Well, you will be all right again now. A novel I have written is being considered by a publisher. If he likes it enough, it will see me through the next few months. Yours, Chunilal. When Dr. Chanda came, Bepin Babu said, I am fine. It all came back as soon as I got off the train at Ranchi. A unique case, said Dr. Chanda. I shall certainly write about it in a medical journal. Journal means a journal is a magazine on a specific subject. The reason why I sent for you, said Bepin Babu, is that I have a pain in the hip from a fall I had in Ranchi. If you could prescribe a painkiller. When Bepin Babu tore open that envelope, and there was a letter from Chunilal. It was written, Dear Bepin Babu, I had no idea wealth could change you so much. When I was in bad condition, you did not help me with the job. I have no money, but I have imagination. So whatever difficulties you faced, that all a part of my imagination. That way, I just punish you for your misbehavior. In some time, you will be all right, and I have written a novel which was now considered by a publisher, and if he likes, I'll get some money. Now Bipin Babu read this letter. He couldn't believe his eyes. Now he understood that this was all a trick played by his very own friend Chunilal. Why do you think Chunilal played a trick on him? Because Bipin Babu refused to help him when he required a job. That's why he decided to punish Bipin Babu. He created such an environment in which Bipin Babu could get stressed and depressed about his bad condition. Now, Bipin Babu learned his lesson. When Paresh Chanda came, Bipin Babu so embarrassed that he could not tell the doctor what the real case was. So he just told him that he had a fall due to which his hip was paining. So to cover up that, Bipin Babu could only ask a few painkillers on that hip pain. Now let us see the comprehension check. Comprehension check. First question. Had Bipin Babu really lost his memory and forgotten all about a trip to Ranchi? Answer is no, Bipin Babu did not lose his memory. It was a trick played by Chunilal. Question number 2. Why do you think Chunilal did what he did? Chunilal says he has no money. What is it that he does have? Answer 2. Chunilal wanted some money from Bipin Babu, his old, but Bipin Babu did not help him. With the help of imagination, he had written a book whose publication would give him some money to pass through his life. That's the end of the story. What have we learned from this? In the entire story, we kept believing that there must be something wrong with Bipin Babu. But at the end, we realized nothing was like that. It was just a punishment which he got from a friend who he did not help. That's all the lesson. In the next video, we will come up with the answers to the questions and we will discuss working with languages, exercises, etc. Take care.